Hello guys, welcome back. In the last lecture, we discussed theoretically about the active record associations, and now in this lecture, we will see the association implementation. So, first of all, let me tell you that we will use the one to many relationship first for the implementation, and we need two active record models for this. One we already have as user model, and the second model we will generate. Okay, and we will name this second model as work experience. Okay, so the relationship between user and work experience model exists in such a way that one user can have many work experiences and each work experience must belongs to one user exactly. Okay, so enough talking, let's create the second model with name work experience model. So switch to the terminal and write the rails generator command for creating the work experience model. So first switch to the terminal, and here what you need to do, first let me increase the font size and use the rails generator to create model. So rails g model, and first you need to provide the model name, so work experience. Okay, so this is our model name. Now, before generating this model exactly, we need to discuss some attributes for this work experience model, and this is very important to consider the attributes first before creating the model. However, you do not need all the attributes while creating or generating your model. Okay, you can add or remove attributes in future as well, but it is a good practice to consider some required and meaningful attributes while creating the model. Okay, so for work experience model, we need to design some attributes first. So the first attribute can be like, let's say, start date, and its type must be date, and other you can as end date, and its type must be date. Okay, and why I'm adding start date and end date here, because there must be a duration for an experience. For example, if you say someone that you work for a company, then you always mention that you work here from that day to this day. Okay, so and using the start date and end date from an experience, we can calculate that how much experience a user can have at a particular company or at a particular place. Okay, so we need the start date and end date. Okay, and the next attribute we need here is the job title. Okay, and this is to show that in the last experience or in his last work experience, what was the role of the user. Okay, so we need to add job title here. Okay, since it is the type of string, so we do not need to mention the string here. However, if you wish, you can mention here. Okay, and then employment type, I mean, what was the employment type of the user at that previous experience. Okay, it can be full time, part time, internship, training, freelance, remote, and so on. Okay, so let's add employment type. Employment type. Okay, and it is also a string. Okay, now then you need to add location and location type. Location means what was the city, I mean the place. Okay, and then location type like remote, hybrid, work from home, and so on. So first add location, it is also string and location type. Okay, and then you need to add a boolean attribute, that is user currently working here. Okay, and why we need this attribute, because this attribute will help us to fetch the information that whether a user is currently working or not. Okay, I mean, for example, if a user has four companies where he has worked and currently he is working a different company, so if he is working currently, then the end date for his work experience must be empty, and we need to mention with a flag that user is currently working here. Okay, so now we need to add the boolean attribute that is currently working here. Currently working here, and mention the boolean here. Okay, why? Because we can only skip the string types from generating a model. Okay, other than all the attributes, all the attribute type we need to mention. Okay, rails will automatically capture that if no type provided, then it will consider it as a string. Okay, but currently working here must be boolean, so we need to mention the type here. Okay, and then we need to add the description. Okay, why? Because this is optional, but sometimes having this attribute is useful, because user can show that what he has done in that experience through uh, this description attribute. Okay, so let's add description as well. Okay, and mention its type, data type as text. Okay, and Then last but the required attribute, that is company, and it is also string, so we do not need to mention. And why company? Because whenever user shows his experience, a company must be present, so that we can identify that where the user worked in the last experience or in that particular work experience. Okay, and as the last, now add the references with user, so user colon references. Okay, because this will mention the relationship in both user and work experience model. Okay, so now all the basic and required attributes we mentioned for the work experience model. Now let's review again that we mentioned start date, end date. Okay, then job title, employment type, location type, currently working here as a boolean attribute, then description, company, and user references. Okay, now run this generator command. Okay, and you can see that when you run this generator command, it will generate a model. Here you can see app models work experience.rb, and it also generated a migration for you. Okay, so first run the migration so that we can have the work experiences table in our schema.rb. So what you need to do, rails db migrate. Okay, and this will create the work experiences table in schema.rb, and you can see it in schema.rb. So open the schema.rb, and here after the user table you can see this work experience table. Okay, and you can see the index, that is 8 foreign key work experiences users, and this is why, because we added user colon references. Okay, however, if you do not want to mention user as references, you can also handle user underscore id colon integer and then manually define the relationship in the work experience model. But as a better practice, we need to define the references while generating the model itself. Okay, and now come to the work experience models. Okay, so go to the app models. Okay, so open the app directory, and into the app models you will see a work experience model now, and here you can see belongs to user is already here, and this belongs to user means that each work experience instance must belong to exactly one user model instance. Okay, and also make sure that whenever you use belongs to association, always mention your model name is singular, and with belongs to you need to provide the name of the parent model. Okay, so here work experience is a child model for the user model. Okay, and here you can see that we defined the belongs to association, so we need to mention the user model as singular name, not as plural. Okay, now come to the user model, and there, because there we need to define the has many associations. So open the user model, and here what you need to do, that after this device info definition, here you need to define its association with work experience model. Okay, so let's use has many. Okay, and why has many? Because user has many work experiences. Okay, so let's add work experiences. Okay, and here you can see we mention work experiences as plural. Why? Because this is the child model. Okay, and whenever you are implementing one to many association or one to many relationship, always make sure that you provide your child model name as plural. Okay, however, if it was one to one, then in both has one and belongs to, you need to mention your model name as singular, but here we need to mention work experiences plural model. Okay, so and save the user model. Okay, so now the relationship between work experiences and user has been established. Okay, and that's all from this lecture. Here our purpose was only to create the second model in our course project and associate it with user model. Okay, now in the next lecture we will start working on adding validations for the work experience model attributes. Meanwhile, try this lecture at your end and generate the work experience model at your end. We will meet into the next lecture. Till then, tata, goodbye, take care, and stay safe.